Welcome inside the Flame Central podcast.
Bam. Welcome back, Em.
Thanks for like holding up the fort when I was gone. With powered by Alcova Mortgage. Yes.
Thank you.
Missed
Emma,
you guys last week.
It's good to have you back.
It's so great to be back.
I can't lie, man. I had a pretty good time.
Whatever. I had a good time.
Right there, partner.
You got a secret handshake we kind of came up with and stuff. It's no big
We
deal.
love you.
We have a lot to talk about on today's show. A little track, golf.
We have a couple mailbag questions, too. I forgot
Couple
to say.
mailbag questions. We're having tight ends coach Cody Ladutko on the show.
Yeah.
I actually have a pretty interesting story about getting attacked by some Yellow Jackets this weekend, and I'm not talking about like a team. I'm talking about like
It wasn't Georgia.
the animal.
It wasn't Georgia.
So talk about a little bit of that.
Yeah.
What else do we have? The
Are Yellow Jackets animals? Are they really animals?
insects.
Yeah.
Is an insect an animal?
No, it's an
Whew, boy. You go on. I'll Google that.
It's an insect.
I don't know. I think I read once that an
just
insect is
I'm not
not
the
an
first to
animal,
Google this.
which is so.
Insects are considered animals.
Okay,
Stop
good,
it.
good, because I was about to be really upset if that
There you go.
wasn't true.
There you
First, let's start things off with a little track
Do it.
talk. Kevin
How
Nedrick,
about it?
you know,
The big fella.
Big fella.
fan of the show.
The big fella.
He placed fifth in
Unbelievable.
nationals on the biggest and brightest stage. He had a ASUN record,
Bam.
203 not yards, feet.
Yes,
In
thank
2 inches. That was his
big
best
fella.
ever throw. That's an ASUN record. It landed him on the first team All-American list, so congratulations to him.
Almost 9 feet further
Get out.
than his
That's
previous
insane.
record.
Let's go.
I was trying to think about this though. Like, you think about that. You see that in
long
those
way.
sports where you just pop one.
one.
And it's like, what's a good comparison in other sports?
Yeah.
Like part of it, I was like, oh, maybe like a guy has a 30-point game that does, but like there's a lot of other factors
9
involved in
feet.
that. You know, like maybe it's a bad
9
defense. Like,
feet.
I think the only thing I could come up with, or the best comparison, would be like if you're a pitcher that throws like 88, and suddenly one night you come out and you're popping 95.
Right,
You
right.
know, like
That's a
it's
good
just pure
yeah.
physical.
Wow.
Just like, whoa, where, like how that all come
You know
together.
what was great, Matt? It was
Tell
great that on the pod, we had him on
Yeah.
the podcast, and I asked him, and I said, "Hey, Kevin, what do you like when you throw it? Are you a screamer?"
Oh.
And
I
then
saw
you
this,
dub
yeah.
that
Yeah,
thing
yeah, yeah.
together.
I found the
and I
scream.
mean, well, that
Yeah.
was an underestimate. Like, holy smokes, that dude
Yeah.
screams like crazy when he lets it fly.
Yeah, he was screaming that.
Oh,
night.
and he was screaming at this. I was great.
I think what's so cool about discus throwing, like if I did this, I feel like I would. You're spinning, you're dizzy, and I'm assuming your eyes are closed,
You're
right?
still stumbling.
Yeah, I would have my eyes closed, and I would probably
that
throw it into the net.
Be a
hurt
mistake.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't have to have your eyes closed. I think that's actually probably the first thing
What
they
a
teach you.
honest-
Callie
Good for him.
Doan, I don't know if you
Going
remember
back to
her, but
Callie.
she was
Callie.
also on
Callie.
the show
The
a few months
steeplechase,
ago. This was
baby.
actually who was going to train Joe Yock, but then he completely.
We've got to
she has
figure
not
this
texted
out.
me back.
Don't worry.
We've
Don't
got to
Since
figure out this
You
race.
scared the death out. Like you scared her so much that she won't return any of my texts.
Maybe it's you, Emily. Maybe at this point we start to think maybe it's not so
I don't
much
want to
Joe.
return my texts,
Maybe
my DMs,
it's you.
my calls,
Yeah.
my
You know
handwritten
what?
letters.
I'm gonna personally
yeah.
reach out to Callie.
Yeah, maybe. you
And I'm
just
gonna ask
overwhelmed
her
a
for
little.
some training, and let's see if she. Hey,
Got
Joe,
it.
I'd love.
Yeah.
I'd love to help you train.
mean,
I got a feeling that's
Joe
what's
comes
gonna
in
happen.
on crutches
Yeah.
the week that he's supposed to run the mile in 6 minutes, right?
I haven't seen him on crutches since.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
it's
that was-
weird.
was a little
really
odd.
weird, but he's been so busy. I gotta be out of here by 1.
Are you telling me I faked my?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
would
know.
like to see a doctor. Still,
But
though. Yeah.
exactly.
on
Congratulations to Callie Doan, second team All-American. She placed 11th in the steeplechase
Killed it.
final.
Killed
But
it.
here's
Five-
the thing about
5 seconds better. Than her-
Here's the
better
thing
time.
about
Yeah, 5 seconds.
steeplechase, who, for those of you who aren't aware, not only are you jumping over like those horse hurdles
you'd be good steeplechase.
into water on one of them, but
galloping.
this is running a 3K. So this is 7.5 laps or 7 laps around the track. So it's just under 2 miles, and she ran it in 9:52:15 for the semifinal to
Joe was
qualify
saying
her.
he could probably do it in 8 minutes.
No.
There's no way I can
saying-
run almost 2 miles in 10 minutes anyways. And you're jumping over these horse hurdles. So that 9:52 in the semifinal was a PR and an ASUN record. So she ran 2 of these steeplechase events in a matter of 3 days. That is like, and then she still placed 11th in the final. So
More importantly,
congratulations to her.
there were 2 track and field athletes that appeared on the Flame Central podcast this year.
Is it coincidence?
Both All-Americans?
Is it coincidence or not?
We'll let the people decide. But, I mean, I think
Let the
the
people
evidence
decide.
is all there.
So we have to be very selective on if you want to be successful
We're
next
gonna have a lot
season.
of people begging to get on the show.
I know. We got to start charging.
We make All-Americans.
That's
That's what they
That
started
needs
saying
to
on the street.
be-
We make All-Americans.
We make All-Americans. That needs Flame Central Podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage. We make All-Americans.
That's pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
Almost too easy.
I see a
It's
new mug.
a beaut. Yeah, a new
Do I gotta
new
do a
mug.
new mug? Looks like I gotta do another new mug.
So congratulations to Callie as well. She was named. This is the first time ever any Liberty
yes.
or Liberty
Yes,
athlete,
I
male
saw
or
it.
female. She won the student athlete female of the year, like across all sports, not just
sports.
track and field. So that's huge. She had such a successful career here. Also had a 4.0 in her graduate health studies. So
And she won't return your message. That is like the icing on the cake. That
funny.
makes Callie,
What
that
we enjoy
makes
the
your
most.
career perfect right there.
yeah. I don't know.
I'll be reaching out.
I don't know if you saw, but we played in the, what was it? 32nd annual?
Liberty Golf Tournament?
Yes, Liberty Golf Tournament last Friday.
There will
Joe was
be
shanking balls
video
all-
coming out.
Stop.
No, you
know
can't
what?
do that.
You know what? That's
Can
fair.
I just give you a recap of the first 5
Right,
holes?
you know, it's the very first thing she brings up.
I know.
We played the Liberty Golf Tournament. Joe was shanking balls all over the place.
Yeah, he
Go
was.
ahead.
Oh, I stayed up until 1 a.m. playing pickleball. Well, time to
did?
grow up, Joe. Life isn't
boy.
just all
I'm
about
not making
pickleball.
excuses. I'm not making excuses.
So
hold on.
this is how
hold
it
on.
works in this tournament.
Hold on.
This is how it
All right,
works.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Matt, Joe, and Paul Nazigan, our basketball
Naz
color
is a
analyst.
natural striker of the golf ball.
Naz has this putter that Joe. Tell me.
I mean, there is an 87.5% or above chance that Paul Nazigan, who's a great guy, stole that putter from Tiny Town.
I know.
And
It was used by Eisenhower, I was told, shortly after the D-Day invasion.
D-Day Memorial. Yeah,
It looks like
they
it's
may
from
have found. I bet an American
early
soldier
1900s.
potentially found
Could
that
have.
putter on the beaches of
Could
Normandy.
have.
That's how bad it is.
It is old.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's old.
It is so bad. But anyway, so all three of them
there's a
hit off the tee box and the whites or whatever, and I get to hit off the reds.
Right.
All three of them. We got one ball in the woods. Paul had some rough shots off the tee, so one's like going, I
was
don't know,
usually in
5 or
the
6
woods,
feet.
yeah.
And then Joe's in the water. So all three of them look at me, they're like, we really need you here. By the end of this round, my shoulders were so sore from carrying
She
this
has
team
used this joke.
that Joe, you did wake up and
Yeah.
you were crushing those drives at the
Okay,
end of the round.
so
Finish strong.
yes, I did have a late night. I'm not making excuses. I did have a late night. I came in sort of last second, which I've also been accused of.
Yes.
That happened. Those are all fair.
Yeah.
Then, I struggled early in the front nine, but
He came alive.
when I came alive on the back nine, I was hammering it, and we were making shots.
So take a look at that feature that'll be coming out a little bit later
Oh, the
this week.
putt.
It's gonna be
They're
pretty
starting
funny.
on the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
The putt. They're calling it Matt Warner.
There's a long
They're
putt.
calling- The
There-
putt. They're
the
referring
putt.
to it as the putt.
The
Wait
putt.
till you see that.
What do you want to
Amazing.
say, Matt? The more importantly in
More
golf
importantly,
news.
Isaac Simmons. We say
Okay.
all of that about us.
Oh, I saw
Oh,
golf.
yes, yeah.
I go.
all of that about us to say, oh
I
yeah,
know.
Liberty has a guy in the U.S. Open.
I saw golf
Well,
on the
hey,
rundown.
see you next week. Yeah, like, that's pretty much it. Yeah, you spend 5 minutes on us and a quick little.
All right,
for
well,
Isaac
thanks for
Simmons.
watching
Yeah.
the Flame Central podcast.
Happens to be playing in the U.S. Open.
In
Yeah.
the U.S. Open, second time a Liberty golfer has
He
been playing.
today plays a practice round
cheer hard for
with. Oh, I don't know. He's just rolling up
I'm
his
gonna bet
practice.
on him.
He's just rolling
Is
up
that
his
allowed?
practice round with Colin Morikawa. No big deal.
Morikawa.
No big deal.
Yes.
Like he's out there.
Wow.
We saw him up there on the mountain, just hanging out at the clubhouse. Now he's playing with some of the best in the game.
He's never going to come on the Flame Central podcast. Powered
We're
by Alcova
hoping to
Mortgage.
get him on next week.
Yeah,
We're efforting.
Oh.
If he's,
I
if he's
told
playing
him
with these guys,
we want you on. I have his number.
If he wants an opportunity to win the U.S. Open,
Unless-
then maybe
right.
he should come on the Flame
Unless
Central
he
podcast.
Calidones
Powered by
me.
Alcova Mortgage.
Unless he Calidones
Don't
me
count
and
it.
doesn't
He won't
return
count
my
it. He won't
text,
count it.
I think we'll get him on.
That's what we're gonna call
Calidones.
him.
You've been
You've been Calidones.
I hate everyone.
Do you know one time I was in Hilton Head, right?
Yeah.
And I was at the Heritage.
Yeah, okay,
Golf Tournament,
yeah,
and Colin Morikawa
Yeah,
is teeing off.
Yeah.
And I like that guy. He's good.
great.
He's a good player. And somebody says to me, "Guess what? That's Colin Morikawa's fiance standing right beside you."
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah.
And so I turned to her, and I don't know what her name is, right?
Next thing, you
but
sold
I
her a
said,
house.
but
Couldn't look at
Yeah,
the
you took
Google
care of her-
machine.
next thing you know, she's powered by Alcova
Yeah,
Mortgage.
right.
No. No, but I said, so then people started realizing, like, hey, this is Colin McCarro's fiance. And she didn't want anything to do with that. Yeah. She was very like, I just want to watch my fiance play golf.
Unheard of.
Y'all leave me
Joe
alone.
Yock.
And I'm causing a ruckus.
Joe's like,
and there I go.
She really does want to talk.
But I was, but I was very socially accepting of the situation. And I said,
She Cali Doned you.
She Cali Doned me. I got Cali Doned by Colin McCarro's fiance.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. Good luck to Isaac Simmons. Really hope that we can have him on after the U.S. Open to talk about that experience. And I'm sure Joe will have plenty of questions. But for now, let's go to our conversation with tight ends coach Cody Ladutko. Welcome to the show, a first-time guest of ours, LU football tight end coach Cody Ladutko.
Cody Ladutko don't play.
We've been trying. Yeah, we've been trying
behind
the scenes to make this happen for it seems months.
But I heard
with
he
your
didn't want
agent is tough.
Yeah. He didn't want to come on the show because he hasn't been invited to the JPL.
Yeah, he's trying to hold out.
Yeah.
He's trying to hold out.
Real bad blood.
But you know
just
what?
doesn't want to get shown up.
After a while, they can't turn us down. And then we handle these negotiations. Right. You get on the show. Then we'll get you the invite to the JPL.
One thing at a time.
And one thing at a time. Just
you might even get a mug, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah. What in the break room? Because it's definitely not in anyone's office.
Gorgeous mug, isn't it?
I think I saw it in Coach Isaac's office, but he didn't have this one.
No,
He's
got the latest. This is the latest.
We have a lot. We have a lot. We actually have a whole store down the hall.
You know there's a JPL mug too.
Oh gosh. Okay. Thanks so much for coming on. I'm sure you've heard about the Flame Central podcast.
Yes,
so it's a pretty big deal. Powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Thank you. Oh, Cody Ladutko, powered by Alcova Mortgage.
There you go. Personally,
yeah,
that's right.
Thank you very much.
How do you like life here on the mountain?
I love it.
Yeah?
It's unbelievable. I got my wife Lindsay, and then my daughter just turned 5 last week. Cora, and then my son. He's 15 months old, Deacon. So we got our house finally.
Yay.
Powered by this man, right?
Look at that.
In a very good area in Forest.
Oh, we got a great place.
Great
in
place.
a great neighborhood. We used to live in that neighborhood. And it's a great
Don't
neighborhood, great
share
location.
the address. Joe's like,
great location. Come knock on his door.
Come right
bring
over.
a platter of food or something.
Well, actually, the tight ends found out that I was living in the house before, so we closed on it, and I didn't move in yet. And there's that little pond right in front.
Yeah.
So the tight ends were like, oh, okay, cool. They showed up randomly and just started fishing in the pond without even. I'm like, dude, don't get me kicked out of the neighborhood before I'm even in there.
Did you talk to the HOA about that?
Yeah, right. All right, speaking of the tight ends, obviously that's your area of expertise. We've heard so much, I feel like, since you guys got here about the running back position and how we use the running backs and all that. Tell me, though, tight ends, because that's been an area for Liberty where I feel like over the years there's always been some potential there. Maybe they've never gotten the most out of that position. How do you guys use the tight end? How do you envisioning that position looking this year?
Well, for us, the tight end is extremely important. Given my recruiting pitch, which it's true, right? If we got one really good one's going to be out there. If we got 2 really good ones, 2 really good ones are going to be out there. If we got 3 really good ones, they're going to rotate through and play just because what we do that's so unique in the run game, marrying it up with the pass game, the tight ends just being bigger guys that can block, you get those guys that are at that elite level in the run game, in the pass game. You set it up. I mean, now we're just giving people problems like crazy. So I think, Bentley Hanshaw, he's had a great spring. I think we went through spring. He had a touchdown reception. We probably had about 14, 15 receptions in the spring game throughout the tight ends. He comes up, he's like, this is the most fun I've had so far, like getting the ball and all that stuff. And so, each week changes a little bit game plan wise. Might be a little bit more heavy run, might be a little bit more heavy pass. But what they can do, it just opens up our offense completely, allowing that run game to operate and then shots over the top. So awesome. I love it.
So you've been in this Chadwell offense 5 years.
Yes, ma'am.
How much do you think you've grown in terms of like percentage? Okay, you started off knowing 0. Are we at 100%?
Oh, I don't think you can ever.
You can never be.
You can never be at 100%. There's always some. Well, can we do this? So you're always going to keep learning, and there's great coaches in there, especially me being in there on that offensive side of the ball. Coach Isaac, Coach Korn, Coach Durkin, Coach Washington, and then Coach Chadwell are all sitting in there, and everybody kind of brings a little something different to the table. And each year it kind of, develops and evolves a little bit more. But when I came in, I was originally assistant off the field. We played, I'll never forget it. The first, it was 2018, we played against South Carolina at South Carolina. Tough game, South Carolina won. The second game, it was when UAB came to us. UAB, it was the second year. coming back from football is when they had the big parade, won like 10 games, all that stuff. They get off the bus, and I'm like, dude, like, this is the best looking team I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is not good. And we come out, and we just schemed them up. They couldn't fit it, hit them over the top. We came away, we won that game. I was like, I'm in, I'm sold. And from that point, just seeing it evolve, adding in some more RPOs and what we do, it's complex, but in what we do, we try to simplify for the players. And I mean, I love it. I will never master the whole thing. And if I ever said I did, Coach Chadwell will say I'm a liar. I can tell you that right now. But I love it. I want to try and learn as much as I can to make us a little bit better every time. So,
you know how we've actually talked about this a little bit is the way the tight ends played in this offense. You said it is that you got to have the combination to be able to put your hand in the dirt and then be able to get out in the passing game also. A lot of times the tight end's basically a glorified slot receiver in many ways, where he's a smaller guy who doesn't really like to stick his hand in the dirt and block people. Tell us, ideally, in your perfect world for the perfect tight end in this offense, what does that look like to you?
So with us, you know, you're really going to we'll put guys in certain situations where we think they're best successful, right? From where we come from before at Coastal Carolina, you know, Isaiah likely made it into the league. He was a great player. Yeah. You know, he's an unbelievable athlete, unicorn type deal. But for a guy for us, that 6'3", 6'4"-ish range, 230 to 240 in there, just how they handle it, right? But the biggest thing to me, all those things you can see on film, you can see what they do. It's going to be between the ears. How much do you understand and comprehend? Because things are going to change on the field. And do you have dog in you? If you got dog, I can work with that.
Is that like, D-A-double-G?
I don't know if I'm allowed to go D-A-double-G. I'm not that cool. Yeah. Probably just more D-O-G.
Just maybe straight
D-O-G-G. D-O-G-G, you know,
two
like
Gs.
Snoop.
I like two Gs. Yeah. But now you got to, if you do that, you got to give me a good acronym for what the other G and all that kind of stands for. Oh, if you can come up with some good stuff, because the tight ends, we were trying to put something together, so you can get with them.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to think on that.
But a guy that with it, he's. Get it. If you give me something good, I'll give you a finder's
Matt
fee.
will come with something.
I'll give you a finder's fee. Then we can make a video.
Yeah, we'll make a video.
That's good with
we got
words.
Shirts.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
I'm better at math. Sorry.
No, now who's I can't believe I can't remember his name. Popped mind. The Coastal transfer. That
Jacob Jenkins.
Jenkins. That's it. Yeah, so that's a guy that you've coached before.
I have.
And tell us what you like about him.
He is a guy, he came in, you know, he probably doesn't do anything the greatest. He does everything really good, but again, between the ears, the kid is not scared to put his face on anybody. He knows the offense, great hands, and can understand and react, you know, so many things. I brought it up to a recruit just last week. Last year, we played a hard-fought game. You guys know him from last year, Gardner Webb. Right, Gardner Webb came to us at Coastal. And we ran an ISO play where he had to insert and hit a backer. I think we counted up like 19 times in the game. It wasn't a heavy pass catching tight end kind of game. He goes through the whole game. He executes, and just getting all day like this. We were winning hat on hat all day. They knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. He still did it. Never complained once. Never said anything about that. We go into the fourth quarter. We're trying to ice the game. It's 3rd and 10. We run a little 6-yard stick route, and this is what sealed it for me. He caught the ball. He literally just catches it, doesn't try to dance, do anything like that, gets vertical, carries guys for like another 6 yards, scores or gets a first down, ice the clock, ball game, right? And he went through that whole game of not having an ego, like, why am I not getting a ball? Why am I not doing this? Why are we running ISO? Never once came up, yes, sir, let's get it. Did that, and then with all that, getting to it, at the end of the game, he gets the catch to ice the game. And he's been great in the room coming in the spring. I got very, very sharp guys in there.
You got some depth there.
It's good. It's good. It's been very, very happy with the room. You know, I'll give praise to Coach Ben. Coach Ben did a great job with tight ends before. They've talked very highly of him in the room and on the field, and you know, I appreciate that with coming in. And you know, any staff you come in, there's always going to be a little something different. Change it up, want different guys. But you know, from that standpoint, it wasn't like he left it bare and didn't coach them up. I thought he did a good job with them. So
I have a little bit of a transfer portal question, and I don't know if this is going to create controversy, but is it more frustrating or more exciting as far as the transfer portal goes, where you're like, hey, I'm teaching this brand new offense, and then and then you go through the entire spring. It doesn't even matter if you're teaching the new offense or the new system or not. Like, you just have this team that's set in spring, and then, well, it's not set. We're going to do all this over again in the fall. Is that more frustrating because players leaving that you just spend all that time teaching, or is it more exciting because, hey, we might get better players in? Or?
I think it depends on what side of the fence with it too. If it's a guy that maybe he was upset that he was a little lower on the depth chart or something like that wanted to leave, then you got maybe I'm happy to find somebody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to play. Now, if it's somebody that you were really diving into, you hope that. And one of the big things with Coach Chadwell, excuse me, with us to try and curb that with guys that you're really pouring into on and off the field is that culture that he wants to bring. So you hope that you implement enough with those guys that they don't want to leave that culture.
Right.
Going through it, for the last 5 years with him, we literally, you had guys that left. We had a guy leave to go Power 5. Grass was not greener, not because of playing, but grass wasn't greener, just culture situation came back to us, right? So, and you really try to stop it from that standpoint. It's crazy, really. Like today, the transfer portal's great if you win. Tomorrow, somebody leaves, it's horrible. So it's just one of those things in this day and age, and you're dealing. I still like to try and get the high school guys, but you have to still live in that portal for an older guy if you need help now. Tight ends with us, we have Bentley and Austin being older guys already kind of in that room, understand what college is. So I wasn't in that situation where we needed somebody else right now. But, it's if you hit on a guy and you get somebody in and he picks it up, then you're happy.
It's really an
about
emotional roller coaster. My therapist tells me all the time that. No, I'm just kidding.
It is.
I'm not good with it. I'm not good with it. I have a lot of mental and it's bad.
And
I'm an
we
emotional.
have to deal with the brunt of it.
Hot mess express. Choo choo.
Yeah. Jump aboard.
Come aboard the hot mess express.
Now you were a quarterback, right?
I was.
Yeah, so a quarterback. How does being a former quarterback, do you see things differently? You feel like coaching tight ends,
I think, from playing quarterback, you have to understand the run game, the pass game. You kind of see it. Tight end is a step, in our offense especially, it's very similar to what you have to understand as a quarterback. Now, not to that depth, especially reads and RPOs, all that kind of stuff. But in our run game, there's plays where the quarterback has to read someone and pitch off someone. Tight end's reading the same guys. So it depends on leverage, understanding whether it's 3 down or 4 down, just like a quarterback. So from that standpoint, the X and O's part of it, I think it's helped me. And then just getting better with technique. I lean on Coach Dirk ever since I've been there. He does a great job with the O-line, and those technical deals that he uses with the O-lines, picking up with him, transferring over to the tight ends, and kind of doing that. I love coaching tight ends. I love it. I love it.
All right, we talk about you being a quarterback. What can you tell me about the Orebro Black Knights or the Can Iron Mask?
This is Sweden and France when you played over. I need the best memory.
And I assume the Iron Mask has just awesome gear. Like their logo should be sweet.
It was because the island. So the first place. So to say the first town because it's got all the dots on the O's and everything. Örebro.
Yes,
that's like that.
Look at that.
Örebro.
That's good.
You know what's funny?
Accent.
Yeah, the other day we had camp. We had some international guys here at camp. And 2 of them were Swedish, so I got to talk a little bit of them.
Look at that.
I didn't learn a lot.
You're so much more cultured than I think people would assume, right? Yeah.
Everybody who watches this and knows me is going to say, do not do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You're going to kill me. Don't do that.
Tea time.
That's probably,
Yeah.
I can hear Chadwell now. She knows you. So, but it was, Sweden up there playing. That was a great time. And then south of France right there, but they were named the Iron Mask because if you remember the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, that island was right there where they kept that prince or whatever he was. So, but that was pretty cool.
What movie are we talking about?
I think it's called the Iron Mask.
Literally the man in the Iron Mask.
It
was like it was made like
of Jim Carrey, the Mask.
No, the Mask.
Totally different.
Completely different.
Totally different.
That was
Also based on a true story.
That was a true story.
Yeah.
I gotta watch this. Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, it was like when he was young.
It's older.
Late
yeah.
90s, maybe something like that.
Do you guys wear those with the helmets?
No,
or you just
we didn't.
Just walking up to the field?
Back then. But Cannes was great living in the French Riviera. It's a tough life.
Yeah.
It's
a good spot.
Is football did people was it big there? Like, did people really care?
It's really, so it starts back to really at the end of the day after World War II, the military American bases stayed there in Germany. So those American people started to bring the sport over there. So Germany's really, it's big in Germany. It's big in parts of France. It's big in Austria as well. And it's kind of grown. Sweden, I always like to compare it when you go over to Sweden, they got these giant Nordic Vikings.
Yeah.
And you're not playing soccer if you're 6'6", 300
Right,
pounds.
right.
So you need
Yeah.
something else. So you got those guys there, and they're growing the sport, and it's fun.
Recruit over there.
Nordic Vikings.
Oh, they're big. You see it. Like, you see a guy like, yeah, that's a descendant of a Viking.
Yeah.
That's
So
a long
do
time
you have
ago.
any crazy stories though? Like, what's the funniest, or I don't know, like a good memory from those European playing days?
Made for camera? You know,
Liberty Way.
no, you know, it was fun. I'll tell you one in France. Okay, so Sweden, this kind of burned me a little bit. So I had met my wife before I went over there. We weren't dating. She came over my third year when I was in France. And you're there during the off season in France, south of France, and then during the tourist season. Yeah. So I go into this nice restaurant during the off season. So I'm like one of the only Americans. I come in to try and talk to a waiter. Do you speak English? Do you speak English? Blah, blah, blah. No. Nose up, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Didn't speak any English. Literally, it was during the film festival. I went to the exact same restaurant. Dude spoke perfect English.
Yeah, of course he did.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is wrong? Like, dude, he just thought I must have been like backpacking and like, I don't care about this American. Get out of
Stupid
here.
American fools.
But it was great because
You know, we say that in Montreal all the time. Stupid American.
I'm telling you,
That's exactly. I live in Montreal.
Sweden, it was a little different, but
I got a good German football player story. Okay. I played with a guy in Saskatchewan. I was playing with the CFL, and his name was Olaf. He was from Germany. This guy was a monster. He was a monster. He was like 6'8", 325 pounds of like just rock solid, right? And he was living in, we brought him, somehow we got him from Germany. Come to Saskatchewan. He didn't speak English real great. And he broke his hand like the second day of practice. I looked at him, I said, Olaf, what's wrong? He said, Olaf, never broken bone in body. That was it.
That was it.
That was the end of Olaf's career.
That is the shortest story that Joe Yock has ever told.
But those
Usually
dudes
he'll
are
go into the
monsters.
history of his family, and
I like to build my stories out.
I know you do. Yeah,
you want that
takes
guy
the whole
playing soccer
podcast.
over there?
You know,
What's he
that
gonna
guy's
do?
not playing soccer.
He's not playing soccer.
no chance.
So
Football.
what's he gonna do?
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much for coming by. You guys got anything else?
I guess just for you, what does the next little bit look like? And as we get ready, getting closer to fall, kind of like, what is it looking like for you as you get ready for that?
Give us the straight scoop on what this squad is looking like. What's this squad
I
looking
know.
like?
I'm a little. I'm not nervous as I believe in you, but I'm just like, it's a lot of change.
It's a lot of turnover, but it maybe not real, seem that way for you because it's all new to you. But I think for most Liberty fans, a lot of the questions we always get is, man, there's just so many new faces.
And here, and this is what I've been saying, Coach, since this whole thing's going down. And tell me if I'm wrong about this. It might take a while offensively to get the thing sort of up and going. This isn't like, hey, we're showing to Bowling Green, we're going to be wide open, scoring it. Like, the fan base has to have a little bit of patience offensively because the system will work, the players are there. It just may take some time to be able to get your full stride going. Is that an accurate statement, or do you fully expect to be fully functional, operational Death Star from day one?
Well, fully, and I'll tell you, fully operational Death Star, you still got to remember, was year 5 under Coach Chadwell's offense with guys that knew the system.
Yes.
You know, this was when you get to their 3rd, 4th year, it's their 10th time going through the install, all that stuff. So from the extent of what that'll be, probably not as much, but it's never going to look the same each year. I mean, there's each year it's always going to change. Now with us, coming in, and I'll say wholeheartedly, I saw it, and for any fan that watches it or anything like that, trust this process. Trust it. Literally, I was there from when Coach Chadwell took over, and I was there in the beginning of it. In the middle of it, you see some people leave that were starters, and you're like, at the time, just me being a younger coach, it's 2018, like, oh crap, you know what I mean?
Right.
Coach Chadwell, I mean, the culture and trusting the process with it, like you're like, okay, let's see, and you get those guys, you tear it down to the studs, you get those guys, the base foundation, and literally you saw it come together, and then it just goes. Once people buy in and they understand it, like they're there. And I'm not saying this is 3-4 years away or anything. It could absolutely happen this year. I think we got great guys in there, but from those guys, especially if you just watch film from last year, I mean, a lot of those guys that were, pulling the trigger at quarterback or catching the ball, that kind of stuff, they were in it for 3-4 years and they understood it. So we come in, you know, we have some sharp guys, quarterback room, you know, tight ends, O-line, all that with older guys, and they're picking it up fairly quickly. But there's always going to be that little bit of learning curve. Yeah. But I can tell you, like, I've seen the mold, the process, the thinking behind it of getting, you know, guys in that fit for us. And sometimes guys leave that, okay, at the time, maybe we do want them, not, whatever. But if you don't believe in it and you don't believe in that culture and what we're going to do and wholeheartedly, both sides of the ball, like, it ain't going to work, because you're not going to get weeded out by us. You're going to get weeded out by the players. Because I'm telling you, it's strong. It's strong. And you see it every day, just a little bit more, a little bit more. We had official visits, and like, we had the players there to greet them, and it was great. Like, they were bought in. They were so happy the guys were there. Nice. Like, our players helping. Yeah. And it's getting there. It's getting there. I promise you.
Relax, Sam.
Relax.
They talk about this a lot, about like chemistry on podcasts, you know, and it just gets, you know, it takes some time and it builds.
We're still in the early phase. We're not in the desperate phase.
Ahoy!
We're getting there. We're getting there.
No, I'm talking about for us. It's our issue. No, not you. Has nothing to do with you.
I would say more of a problem.
We need to weed some people out. Do we have a transfer portal? Can the transfer portal for the podcast be powered by Alcova Mortgage?
I can say, Sarah. What's your hours?
Seriously,
you know what, Emily, we talk about your feelings a lot on this podcast. I have feelings too.
Since when?
I would just like to know, though, who showed up last for this?
That's pretty typical.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Joe's always late. So that's why I like being around Joe, because it makes me look really good. Go ahead, Joe.
Do your bit, Joe. Here you go.
Joe does have an actual job.
Yeah, that's right. That pays for the
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You guys are getting paid for this? Awesome.
Yeah. There is still checks in the mail, right, Matt?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Coach, right there. Look in that camera right there.
With the red light.
Flame Central Podcast, powered, say full emphasis, powered by Alcova Mortgage. Give it to him.
Flame Central Podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Bam!
That's our best one.
Get your pinky up.
There you go.
Thanks for
Coach,
coming on,
thanks so much for coming on. Can't wait for the fall.
Thank y'all.
So great having Coach Ledeco on the show.
He'll coach you up.
After we stopped rolling, we forgot to mention something about a previous podcast that we had with
Willie Korn told about Ledeco, just a blatant foul, almost killed him. It physically, and I think it's fair to say emotionally scarred Willie. We forgot to bring it up. We mentioned it to Cody afterwards, and basically he was unapologetic.
Yeah.
He embraced it. Said,
he said, I'm a goon. Every team needs a goon.
Yeah.
The muscle.
He's the muscle.
Every goon.
You know what? I'm going to start going on his side a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I was really defending Korn on that. And I went out on Twitter, I believe, something.
You went public.
I went public. I called Ledeco a hack.
Yeah, you did.
I called him a hack.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn the tables.
I like how unapologetic
he's unapologetic. And I'm going to say, I think Willie Korn's a little bit of a prima donna, to be honest with you. If we're going to call this thing for what it is, I think he's a little bit of a prima donna.
Both sides to stoke this thing.
And then at the end of it, no one on Chadwell's staff is ever going to come on this podcast ever again. There's going to be broken mugs.
This is the place for them to air out their grievances with their fellow
We're going to
staff.
see pieces of the Flame Central podcast but shattered all over the Liberties campus. It's not going to be a good day. So, quick story. I am at the lake this weekend, and I'm trying to get this is my yellow jacket story. Trying to get a few of the lounge chair cushions out of the shed.
And it's wintertime. They've been in there nesting.
So I usually just get one at a time, but they're super heavy. So I like pull it to go over my head to like carry it kind of like down my back. Yeah. There is about 1,000 yellow jackets in a nest under the third cushion. Only about 100, 200 come out and start attacking and flying, swarming me. And I am screaming like Joe Yock after he just lost a JPL pickleball game. And
more like Matt
Fair.
It was, so if you thought my calf was big before, you should see how swollen I have, like my whole sides.
Let's count the stings. How many stings do we get?
2 stings.
Okay, there's some holes in this story.
I'm telling you.
Tell me right now. Tell me right now there's some holes in this story.
I have a picture. I have a picture of underneath the third one. I only stirred up like 100 to 200 of them.
100 to 200. Just do a quick
2 stings?
Quick count.
I'm telling you right now, I dodged a bullet.
How close to water were you?
The lake was low, so I would have to crawl over. Well, I could have ran on the dock.
Why didn't you run the
But
dock, jump in the water?
This is the smartest thing I did. When I was running out and I dropped the cushions, I shut the shed door, or I would have been. This would have been a My Girl situation, and I wouldn't have been ever on this podcast ever again.
I haven't seen that movie.
You haven't seen My Girl?
Is that the one with the iron mask?
No, they die. I think it's a little girl or boy
Just
dies
stop
because
it.
they
We
get
don't-
swarmed.
Okay.
Why are we bringing up stuff like that?
You guys are so.
You know, Emily, I'm sorry to hear about that. I've been swarmed by yellow jackets before. It's not fun. Happened to me and Little Reese.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They are
Chopping down a
no
tree.
joke. I'm
There
telling
they
you
are.
right now.
Straight to the swim boat. He's full sprint. He was like 3.
I'll send you the picture. I'll send you the picture of how many were across the board on this thing.
I left my
I'm so
3-year-old
over
in the
them.
dock.
I hate them so much. What else do we have to talk about? Mailbag.
Send pictures.
Couple quick mailbag questions.
I really dislike
Can
it.
I? We all
there's some
knew.
holes in this
We all
story.
knew where this is headed. You knew where this is going when you.
You
told
said
the story.
125 yellow jacks. You got stung twice. It just doesn't happen. That's too many
Because-
yellow jacks to get stung twice. You're gonna get 50 stings.
I'll send you the video of me running around looking
I
like
would
an
like
idiot.
to see that.
There's a video of it?
Yeah.
No.
Oh no! Of course there's not.
No, there's it on the house.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the ring video
Yes,
or whatever.
there's
it's
that,
called.
yeah. Can I get
Send
to
that.
mailbag quickly?
Put
We're
that on
running
the-
out of time. We got to get out of here.
All
All
right,
right, mailbag.
Every time. Mailbag.
All right, Doug asks a question,
Give it to me,
looking well down the line.
Give it to me, Doug.
He used the quote from Mark Richt, who
Mark
said
Richt.
something about
Great football.
Liberty. If Liberty keeps beating ACC teams, they should let them in the league. He asks, is it possible? And now we're days away from joining a new conference, so he's really looking down the line.
Yeah.
Is it possible Liberty's in the ACC by 2030?
Yachtah will give you the honest answer to that one. Okay.
And we're not knocking. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're all thrilled to be in conference.
I
This is
think
what Doug
the
asked.
biggest hurdle, and could it possibly happen, but the biggest hurdle for Liberty to jump is when you look at the ACC. Could they compete in athletics in the ACC? There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I think they can compete there. I think to get in would they be at the top of the ACC? No, you're not going to be Clemson, North Carolina, like some of the top schools overall athletically. But could they compete? Well, yes. I think to get through the ACC is the academic side.
Oh, really?
That's the ACC. The schools within the ACC to meet with the academic standards to be a part of the ACC. I think
didn't even think of that. I forgot there's a student in front of the athlete.
That is the hurdle that Liberty's going to jump. So there's rankings academically and where you have to be, and so when you go to these schools down the list of ACC schools, there's all of them. Give me one school from
That's
the
not,
ACC
yeah.
is not considered a high academic institution. There isn't any, and so I think that would be the hurdle that's going to be really tough to jump in.
I think it'll be interesting, because you think oh boy, that seems pretty soon, 2030.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, the Pac-12, are they going to hold it together?
Yeah.
All it takes is a
Is
couple
movement.
more schools
Correct.
moving.
Yes.
And over the next few years,
Yeah.
and it could start it all up again.
I'm
so.
not saying that they can't, but somebody made a good point once that Liberty's beating these teams having one random ACC game.
That was Joe Young. that
When
made that point, I
you
think.
think about having to, was that you?
Right, week by
Having
week,
to
just the grind of the schedule. Sure.
It's a much
But-
different
and,
hurdle
and
to.
I'll argue back on that,
If
which
you
is
recruited players that could play in the
Correct.
ACC, yeah.
Correct. Now you're
I mean, that
recruiting
would
a different
take
type
that
of
would
football.
take
So,
4 years.
is
to
it
be
possible?
competitive.
Yes. Is
Yes.
it likely? Probably
Probably
not. But I mean, with as much shifting and stuff that it's going to continue to happen,
A lot of things change.
a lot of
folks.
things change.
A lot of
And it
things
can change quickly.
In a very
It can
short
change
period
quickly.
of
All
Scott
right.
Richardson would love
Good
it.
question.
Yeah. All right. Better question. And this
this
one's
is a
from
better
Jenny. I think she's going to win the mug. I've gone ahead and made the decision here.
Jenny.
She said, Emily, you were missed last week, even though we did a great job. She did.
You
say
know what
that.
he did to us last week? The show that we filmed, you and I, which I thought was a really good show. We did a good job.
No, I'm just kidding. It was great.
Yeah, he tried to say that it was a downer.
No, I haven't listened to it. That was just the feedback I got. I don't know. All right, but here's a good question. She says, what team's win this past year did the most to elevate that team's reputation and potential recruiting impact?
Oh, I think that's an easy answer.
What
I
do you
think
think?
softball.
I think softball.
Yeah.
I mean, the win over UCLA in softball
And Clemson.
and Clemson.
Yeah.
And what Dot is doing. And Dot's
Wasn't it
name-
Alabama too? Is it
And Alabama.
Did
Yeah.
they beat Alabama?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. So yeah, and I think that's twofold. Is the fact that Dot is leading the program because of who she is and her name
Right.
and the Olympic status on the high levels of softball. That's one part of it.
Yeah.
Two, obviously the facilities, and they're improving their facilities even more. That they have stuff coming down the pipe, and then to get the high quality wins, like UCLA is number 2 in the country.
Yeah.
To get that win, and along with some other wins that we talked about there, Clemson, Alabama, is I think softball did themselves the most.
Who would you say?
No, I think that is it.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think like a football Arkansas BYU.
Oh, yeah.
But then complicating that is just
Coaching
a change
change.
in coaching
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
So obviously they can still ride that momentum, but it does complicate things a little bit. I think the most clear cut, you're right, is softball.
Having 2 All-Americans in track and field helps too.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
listen,
I mean,
and
and track's always been great, but
I think
are
that's
they
why
ready
they
to take
get
that next
overlooked
level?
because
they're
they're
just
super consistent.
they're
super
bringing
great.
in some studs.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
They got that
Oh,
rolling
yeah.
too.
Do we miss anybody? We don't make anybody mad. Like
I don't think so. Like national, like you think about that 3, I guess it was 3 top 10 wins for Liberty softball.
Well, you got to think.
That's nobody else is matching.
We got to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, lacrosse had a big hurdle with Jacksonville
Right.
this year, and then field
Lacrosse is
hockey.
close.
Yeah.
Women's lacrosse is close.
Field hockey. I'm trying to think. Their year
I think
was
so. I
the
think
previous.
softball's it.
Yeah,
Softball's
softball's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So great question, Jenny. Thank
Yeah.
you, and she's
Get
a
her
big
a
fan
mug.
of the
Send her-
show.
you better
We'll
send
send her
her
a
a
mug.
mug.
I'm gonna send her a mug. We got her.
Send her up.
That's
Is that it?
That's
Awesome.
it.
It's a Flame Central podcast.
It's a Flame Central podcast. It's powered by Alcova Mortgage. Thanks so much for watching. And if you if you're listening, you can watch us on YouTube.
Flamecentral at liberty.edu. If you have a question,
yes.
Mailbag.
send it to us.
Mailbag.
Mailbag
Mailbag it
question.
up.
You might get a mug.
Flamecentral
You might
at
get one of
liberty.edu.
these
You
amazing
may
mugs.
soon be powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to be, reach out to Joe.
Hey, Emily, I know we were a little bit hard on you today.
I wish that I could show you my side. And
I don't. That's not
No,
okay.
that's
Emily, we were a little hard on you, but I just want to look at me now. You're special.
thanks so much for watching,
like
listening. We'll see
you.
you right back here next week. See ya.